This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I'm here with Guy Porter, winemaker, wine grower from Bellbird Spring, Waipara, New Zealand. How are you today, sir?
Well, thank you.
Tell me a little about what you do in Waipara in New Zealand. I do have the pronunciation there correct, do I not?
Yeah, definitely. You can pronounce it as Waipara, which would be considered proper pronunciation of a Maori word. Probably a few of the locals would call it Waipara. There's a lot of difference really, but it's very good.
Now, you don't sound as if you hail from New Zealand yourself. Now, there is quite a story behind that. Let's hear a little about that.
Yeah, well, as a family, we lived in a number of different parts of the world. I was born in India, but we moved when I was young to the South Island of New Zealand, to Christchurch, where I spent some early years of my life, and then we moved on to the UK, where I grew up, and left school and first got involved in the wine trade. So that was in small independent wine merchants in Buckinghamshire, and from then moved internationally to find lots of different experiences, which I think have formed my interest in wine.
This is the first time you've made wine for yourself, is it not?
Yes. Yeah, this is in 2008 was the first vintage. We produced a white which was based on a field blend of Pinot Gris, Muscat, Gewürztraminer and Riesling, called Home Block White, from my parents' vineyard on George's Road in Waipara. I think that's proved to be an interesting wine that has attracted attention, probably more from sommeliers than perhaps mainstream retail or like that.
What would you say makes your wines just that little bit different from the majority of New Zealand wines that one finds in both the North American market and the European market?
Well,
because I certainly see a big difference between
yes.
your wines and those I normally see.
I think in my mind, good wine is for the table. It should be suitable to have with food, good company as well. But consequently, I don't find that the fruit-dominated characters of New World wines suit food as well as perhaps some of the more traditional wine characters from wines from Europe, which use quite different techniques to produce their flavours. So although we have vineyards in a New World setting in New Zealand, in Waipara, I probably apply winemaking techniques that are much more traditional, much more European, and I think that then translates into different flavours and textures and mouthfeel.
What do you believe your region of Waipara brings to the glass?
Well, it's as a region, it's a very flexible region. It's got the capacity to ripen quite a wide range of varieties. I think it's very good at producing aromatic whites and Pinot Noir. In the wines that we've tasted today, I think that you see really good mid-palate characters, a lusciousness, a roundedness in the wines that hails from Waipara, that some other regions in New Zealand just don't have. So I think that's you can see in whether it's Riesling or Sauvignon or Pinot, a fleshy mid-palate and soft succulent fruit. I think those are defining characters.
And these are of the region or of your winemaking style and the vineyards that you source from?
Well, I think they're from those particular characters are probably from the region. I think the wines that I make are probably have additional characteristics that come from oxidative handling of juice, indigenous yeast ferments, the use of old oak rather than new for a lot of the winemaking.
All of those things that you didn't learn about at Roseworthy.
Yes, certainly things you didn't learn about at Roseworthy, but It's really good to have an informed opinion on things. It's not. I don't think it would be the same if I had simply gone off and found out by myself how traditional Europeans made wine, or traditional European winemaking took place. I think it's good that I've had that technical background, quite a modern sort of approach to wine production, and with that discipline and with that perspective, you can then go and choose to do something different. Yes, it's a bit like perhaps modern art. If you've had the technique to paint classically, and and then can choose to leave that alone and go and do something which is abstract, then it's sort of a valid background.
But with that classical foundation, then you perhaps have more leeway to kind of take some chances, I suppose.
Yes.
If you were to sum up your wines in a few words, how would you do that?
Texture, mouthfeel, persistence. I think it's what they should. Even whatever the style or variety, that it should have those characteristics. Those make them good wines for the table. Yeah.
One last question. What does good food mean to you? And remember, wine is food.
Good food? Good food involves good company. I think it is something that, in my mind, is often done at home. It's shared. It should be, where possible, with ingredients that are fresh, that come from the land around you if you can. Not everyone has that luxury. Certainly where we live, we have that luxury. We have land to grow food and wine, and which we share as a family. So those are elements that I see as making good food.
Guy Porter, thank you very much for joining us today at Good Food Revolution.